Ano'ai kawelino o ke aloha. Greetings and welcome to the Ho'omohalu Summer Series focused on refreshing and rejuvenation. Mo'ohalu means at ease or comfortable. It is also the name of the 12th day of the moon cycle. It springs up about 3 days prior to the mahialani or full moon that brings new life. Mo'ohalu also means to open, unfold, as in the blossoming of flowers. It is said when you plant flowering plants on the Mo'ohalu moon, you'll reap perfectly round flowers. Now when you add ho'o, you bring action to the meaning. Ho'o, mo'ohalu, to be at ease and comfortable in this season of new life and allow yourself to blossom into your purpose. Welcome to Ho'omohalu. Aloha and welcome to the first session of Ho'omohalu's summer series of rejuvenation and refreshing. After a sensational spring semester, we may be in need of a little rest, relaxation, and rejuvenation. I know many of you are attending professional learning courses and opportunities to ready yourself for possibly yet another online semester. But it is important that you take the time to refresh yourself so that you can be a blessing to those around you. Have you ever noticed that our pets can sense when we are stressed or agitated? Well, our family members, students, co-workers can sense these as well. In this episode, we talk about refreshing with the ocean. Velina, welcome. Join me in this Oli to announce the beginning of learning together. Follow along audibly or within your na'au, your innermost part, as we acknowledge who we are and how we connect with this larger ecosystem called life. E ke akua o kalani me ka honua, I luna I lalo kou mana e. Ke huli akula, ke huli maila, I o I ane I ko aloha e. Mai uka ke kai, e ho'opili mai, aloha no, aloha e. E ke akua mana loa e ano mākou ma mua o. Mahalo no ka ike, no ke aloha a me ka oia I o. E ho mai ka ike, e ho mai ka ikaika, e ho mai ka maupopo pono, e ho mai ka ike papalua, e ho mai ka mana. A mama ua noa.
Aloha mai kākou, o hau'oli ko'ui noa. The Hawaiian word for this module is mo'ohalu. E ho'opili mai, mo'ohalu. Mio. Mo'ohalu means at ease, loose, slack, unrestrained, comfortable, at liberty, to open, and to unfold like a flower. Let's look at mo'ohalu used in a sentence. Mo'ohalu kapua. E ho'opili mai, mo'ohalu kapua. Maikai. Mo'ohalu kapua means the flower unfolds. As you go through this module, think about your own personal journey of mo'ohalu. For me, I'm currently in a season of mo'ohalu as I learn and develop skills and unfold as a kumu olelo Hawaii. E mo'ohalu kākou, let's unfold together. Mahalo nui, ahui ho.
Thank you for joining me in Oli and Pule today. Oli and Pule invoke a sense of spirituality, connectedness to a divine power. It can be a place, a person like a kupuna, a parent, a mountain, or ocean. Some people may name it God or other names like Buddha or Krishna, but it is simply the source to which you choose or where you seek power or energy. I'm talking about spirituality and not religion. In this episode, you may hear me say Akua, but that simply is a general term for your source or my source of power and enlightenment. When we Oli and Pule, we awaken our spiritual capacity to connect to things at a level beyond what we can see with our eyes. Our voice creates a vibration that connects us at a higher frequency where we can relate to the life force, and thus we can work towards pono and restoration of balance in our body, mind, and spirit. When COVID-19 first showed up on our shores, we experienced a tidal wave of change in our lives. First, we had to hunker down and be in a time of ho'omalu, of protection, of reflection, a covering. And that brought on personal and professional changes that we never experienced before. Many of us were operating in survival mode. You know, that freeze, fight, or flight. As we learned from Liz Hartline in Ethics and Equity and Trauma-Informed Course Design Faculty Development Workshop this last week, we learned that it's not the optimal state of brain to be in for learning. And I'll even push that further to say it's not the best space to even be teaching or communicating. Whether in pre-COVID or during this period of ho'omalu, we really did pick up a lot of entanglements, very much like this turtle here. And we can get so wound up in all kinds of personal challenges that it entangles us. It could be a slight offense, a buildup of worry caused by health issues or financial challenges or even strained relationships. It could just be caused by a quick change of lifestyle. Whatever the reason, these entanglements keep us from being our best and affect others that we come into contact with, much like this honu here. This is the reason why we're having this conversation today, because there are ways to release this, to reset our lives. When I was a child, whenever I would get a runny nose or a small cut from exploring the pasture that was near our home, Dad would take us to the ocean edge to go swimming. As children, we'd enjoy this outing and see it as a treat. Dad would always tell his kids, "Saltwater heals. You go to the ocean and it cleans everything." It was his way of taking care of our cuts, scrapes, bumps, bruises, and hurt feelings. After the trip to the beach, we'd often forget what ailed us prior to the visit. This statement, "Saltwater heals," has become an influential part of our life, so influential that my son started a whole business around that phrase. This tradition was something that my dad learned from my grandpa, and to this day, we continue this practice as a part of a healing process. There are many ways of cleansing at the ocean, but for my family, it was a trip to the ocean with a pule of thanksgiving and release, and balance was achieved. We call this pono. I cannot go on about rebalancing without mentioning that there is a formal practice called ho'oponopono, a tradition of setting things right when there is conflict. This is a more formal way of healing conflict between people, which can oftentimes include a trip to the ocean to cleanse and release. Nana Ike Kumu Volume 1 says, Ho'oponopono was essentially a family matter, involving all the nuclear and immediate family, or only those concerned with the problem. This process included pule, ground rules that were made so that facilitated conversation could safely take place, where all parties shared their perspectives on an issue. There were timeouts when things got emotional, It was a time for forgiveness and restitution, a time to release, and a closing ritual that included some sort of water cleansing with a meal. This is all available in the Nanaike Kumu books provided by the Queen's Trust. One practice of cleansing is called pikai. Often we see images of blessings where there is a kahu sprinkling salt water with a tea leaf. This is a means of cleansing called pikai. Some people just sprinkle the water over the item being blessed or cleansed. Others will open their hands face up in front of them in a receiving stance, where the kahu will sprinkle from head to toe, east to west, covering the four corners of the body. This is just one way of doing this. You may even have seen Kalani Flores at morning piko offering a pikai before we enter the hale. This is a really simple way of cleansing, and all you need is a bowl, salt water, and a tea leaf. This is a good place for me to mention that there are many ways of doing pikai. It all depends on the family or place or even what resources were available. There is an olelo no'eau that speaks of this honoring of the various ways, and it goes, "A ohe po ka ike I halau ho'okahi," which speaks to not all knowledge is in one house, or one can learn from many sources. Another practice of cleansing or restoration or rejuvenation is named kapukai. Kapukai is a method where you immerse your body into the ocean. One would often immerse themselves in the water about 3 times. Sometimes they would wear a lei made of limu, kala. Kala meaning to loosen, release, remove, forgive, or pardon. The lei would be worn into the kai, and when they immersed themselves, the lei would come off and float away. It was an outward symbol of letting go of the issue or the conflict at hand. Another method is called hi'uwai, and hi'uwai is a more ceremonial purification process. Lots of pule would be involved, and when done, there would be an adornment of your finest, followed by a feast. This ceremony is usually reserved for formal things like an uniki, a graduation exercise for hula or other ancient arts. Limu is a style that I learned from a dear friend whose family has been doing this for generations. Kahumoku's ohana would frequently go to Ka'awa Beach in the Kuʻualohanui district of Oahu to pule and release. As a young boy, Kahumoku said that he thought his dad was telling them to go down to the beach to pull, P-U-L-L, limu. He would happily oblige as he loved the ocean. It was only when he became an adult that he realized that what he was doing was a cleansing for healing of the body, soul, and spirit. How they would do it is they would get into the water about waist high and form a circle holding hands. They would pule, thanking Akua for this opportunity, and make a statement of release of the issue. They would then submerge and now allow the heaviness to be washed away. I had an opportunity to go to Ka'awa to Pulimu. It was a beautiful way to end the strict quarantine I placed upon myself. The heaviness of my family members who were sick and the financial challenges that friends were facing had weighed me down. I even did some soul searching and checked in on some of my personal relationships that needed healing. I took this opportunity to surrender them to my source, Akua, so that I could live on a higher frequency. It's been almost a year since I've been in the ocean, so I had to reacquaint myself to it. And as I stood in waist high and the waves tossing me to and fro, all kinds of superficial thoughts started swirling in my head. Things like, I'm wearing a swimsuit and everyone can see me. Is the lighting right for the video? Will the wind be too strong for the audio? Then my husband and I started our pule, and I could feel the arms of the ocean hold me like a parent holding their baby. When I immersed myself in the ocean, there was this feeling of being washed clean, like a weight had been lifted from me. The video crew was no longer a thought, and the worries I carried into the water became minute compared to the ocean that connected me to the entire globe. It was a magical moment of weightlessness, and when I came ashore again, I felt renewed and refreshed, rejuvenated. In preparing for this workshop, I came across evidence that even our ali'i would utilize the ocean to restore or rejuvenate. On January 20th, 1893, just a few days after Queen Liliuokalani was forced out of her leadership position as the monarch over the Hawaiian kingdom, she entered into her diary the following words. January 20th, 1893, from Washington Place. Went to the mausoleum and went to Waikiki to bathe. This showed me that even as the Queen was facing great challenges and national change, she sought solace in visiting her kupuna at Maunaala at the mausoleum, and then headed to the ocean to release, forgive, and rejuvenate herself. Today, I challenge you to care for yourself by finding a place to get refreshed and rejuvenated. I challenge you to take time this summer to care for yourself so that you can be your best to those around you. So for home play today, take a photo of that place, that person, or that thing that you go to for refreshing. Upload that photo to the Kudo board in the Google Classroom under this topic. Caption the photo with your name and an 8-word mo'olelo or story about this photo. See the example. So as we near the end of our time together, I want to remind you that there is an opportunity for refreshing right on our Honolulu Community College campus. We call this Morning Piko at the Hale, and it's held Tuesday and Wednesday mornings from 8 a.m. to 8:15 a.m. during the fall and spring semesters, and everyone is welcome. Mahalo everyone for joining us in this Ho'omohalu series of Rejuvenation, Episode 1. We look forward to your Kudo board responses and hope you'll join us on Friday, July 3rd, when we broadcast Nai'a Uno, Let's Eat Fish. Please remember to complete the online workshop evaluations located in the Google Classroom. This is your way of letting us know what kinds of sessions you would like to see in the future. And allow me to close today's sessions with a few lines from the Queen's Prayer, where she talks about love, truth, and goodness, which are all products of rejuvenation and refreshing. O Kuʻualohanui Kaulia, a o ko oia I o ke hemolele ho'i. Amen. Ahui ho, everybody. See you soon.